This is Office Hour 13, and I'm going to talk about the Amazing Dax Studio. So, what is Dax Studio really about? So, I'm going to uh, show you, I'm going to share my entire screen, and then that way you'll be able to see it. So, I hope my screen is showing right now. Okay, great. Okay. So this is Dark Studio. It's a tool that allows us, in use of Power BI, to do more, to be able to get out more value. Let me use that word, more value from our Power BI desktop. So, to install it, you will need to go to Dark Studio and do the installation. So let me just send across the link. To, I want to send via chat to you the download link. So download Dark Studio, Dark Studio apps. So I've messaged to us the download link. Okay, great. Then what other information do I need you to have? Once you click on the download and you install, you will try to read a bit about what is here, but I will try to help you get used to using it. And more importantly, I will show you common scenarios that use it for. So I've shared with us the download link. It's in the chat box. Then one other thing do I share with you? See if this will, because this is not going to be really that useful in the list of things to share. But this one really is. So the makers of the people who developed Dark Studio, they did some set of explanatory videos, and they're really worth it. They are very useful. That I would recommend that you go through. So the how to use videos from the developers. It's always awesome when you listen to how to use a tool directly from the people who build it. They show you some aspect of it that you will not easily come across on your own. So that's another resource that I would like you to have before I start the demonstration. Then Matt Harrington, one of the awesome guys, writing content around Power BI. He has a book, Supercharge Power BI. So he has done this very nice, uh, comprehensive, quick guide on quick guide on the value of Dark Studio. So this is another thing that I highly recommend that you go through. Okay, so now that I've listed those ones, now let's do the demo. Right. So I have, you might be like, oh, why should you install Dark Studio? It's a bit tricky to explain until I demonstrate what kind of things I use it for, right? So here is a report that I have. You see this report that I have, it's a lot. It has a lot of sheets, pages, which, that's what we call sheets in Power. So it has many pages. Ignore the fact that some are showing blanks because I'm not doing it. So if I click on refresh, this thing can take like 10, 20 minutes before it finishes. There's a lot of data. If you come in here on the left, you see the number of tables I have. These tables are really up to 100. So it's not a small list of. This thing has taken me over 3 years to get to this page. Well, not that 3 years to this, but I keep improving and adding more things. I still added some things last week. So now, if I want to, do some really nice check for this, let me use that word first, right? So what do I do? Task number one. Say I want to get out all the measures that I have used in this report. Okay. So what do I do? So I'm going to open Dax Studio. So if you have it installed, all you just do is type after installing it, you launch it. Once you launch it, so you see the separate software. Okay? So once I launch it, it's going to detect that I already have BI file. Oh, no, not. So let's wait for it. Can you see? It's asking me to connect. I will say yes. I want to connect to a Power BI instance, and then it's going to ask me to pick. So you see, this is that Power BI file that I already have open. By the way, this file that I have open, you can use it. Let me show you if you want to look at the final version. So the final version is this. Let me just, the demo, let me just type it here for you. Demo Power BI reports. So in case you want to just take a look at it. So I've WhatsApp that to answer WhatsApp, message that to you. So back to what I was saying, I'm able to pick that this is the one I want to connect to and do some things with Dax Studio with. So I click on connect. And so the moment I click on connect, it's going to show me all of the tables that I have in my Power BI report, which you will notice too is exactly the list I also have here, on the right side. Okay, so now let's talk about the kind of things that I can do with Power BI with Dax Studio that I can't do with the ordinary Power BI desktop. So number one, say I want to get out all of the measures that I have in my Power BI report. So what do? I click on DMV. You can see this DMV here, right? And so once I click on DMV, I'm able to look for measures. So I'm going to scroll and look for measures. Can you see MD schema measures? So what do? I drag that in here, right? Then I click on run, or you can do F5. So whichever you do, and you will see the result. So now it's telling me all of the measures that I have created in this report. So this can be very useful if you are trying to, just go through things you have written. I can decide that these measures that I have, I want to export them. So what do? I say I want it to be exported as a file, right? So when I say run, this time around, it's going to export all those measures. So I can just pick a comma separated file and say my NMD report measures. So imagine that you've done some reports, you want someone to help you with your measures to optimize them or to help you troubleshoot that is not working. You find out that this can be a very, very nice. Let me see where I save it. Okay, so I saved it in documents. Let me just open it. So this is the measure that I just saved now. It's going to open up in Excel. So trying to open up the measures. Excel. Here's my Excel. Okay, so see, that's popped up. So I'm able to see all of my measures. I used these measures. These are the names of the measures, and I can see what I type in there. So these are the things I type in the measure, and I can be able to check out and say, okay, are there things? Let me just tell it not to wrap text. But things will be a lot easier to read. Okay, so I can begin to look at which measures I want to optimize or change or write better than the way it is. So that's one thing that makes possible. For those of us who just joined, in case you missed the beginning part, I'm trying to take us through how you can use Dax Studio to extract out. So I'm just going to start all over anyway, so that in case you, so I'm going to cancel, do not save. So I'm going to, I've already put in the chat box how you can install Dax Studio and some important links that you should check out. So I run Dax Studio. Once I run it, it is going to detect that I already have a Power BI report open. So I already have this Power BI report I want to use for the demonstration today. So Dax Studio already sees that, oh, I want to connect to a Power BI file, and it detects that I already have one open. I select that and I say connect. So I was mentioning, how then do I see all of the measures that I've written in my Power BI? So what do? You go to DMV. So if you look down here, I don't want to use this zoom too much. It sometimes freezes my PC. So I just wanted to let you see that if I go to DMV and I just scroll down to the MDS schema measures, all I do is I drag these measures down here or to the right here, and I click on run or F5, and you see that it instantly shows me all the measures and you can export them. So this is number one. Now, what other things do I use Dax Studio a lot for? So a lot of time I need to, I don't know if you are facing, but I faced it a lot. So recently I'm doing a work for Promasido, a manufacturing an FMCG company. And there is always this, okay, they've explained what they want, they've explained what's in the data. Then when the examination and Power BI wants to do a report and you're publishing, the other client is able to see, the client at their own end, they're able to see what you're doing, right? So every day they're checking it out. And so sometimes they will call me and say, oh, Michael, these figures, they don't look correct. And I'll be like, I followed your steps. I followed what the people who want to report say is the normal way of, extracting the analysis that because most of the time I'm migrating reports from Excel or from somewhere into Power BI for them. And so, and then it will become a case of the boss will be like, okay, you know what, can I extract for them data that is showing in Power BI so they can compare, they can send to the person who actually does the manual reports and let him to find out where the difference is coming from, right? So, the issue is that with Power BI, that can be very difficult. So an example can be this. They want me to extract out something from this table, right? So let's say I'm on this table. So I'm supposed to extract out the values for year 2019 for this table, year 2019. So that's where maybe we have problems. Sometimes it can be the current month. So I can be like, okay, I'm going to send you my analysis for October or for November. Then your guy can also compare with his own, right? So the issue is, how do I copy these out? So you see, in Power BI, it's very tricky. Even though there is this copy table, it's not as neat, and it can freeze when you have a really large table. It's not as neat, and some things are even not possible with the copy table as I can here, right? So what do? I simply just say evaluate. So that's how this one works. You have to first type evaluate, and then I can bring that to companies. In fact, you don't need to bring, just double click it. I think I evaluate space, double click companies, right? Run or F5. You see, it has brought out the table, right? And if I want to come out as a file, I pick that my output should go to a file. But now let's talk about the thing that is the reality that I'm always faced with, which is I want to export out the values for year 2019. So it will be like evaluate So I can say, okay, calculate table. So this is what makes it a lot nicer than you trying to use the Power BI. You can write out a query, and then it's the outcome of the query that you're going to save. So I can say calculate table, in this case, companies, maybe not even calculate, is what I want is a bit straightforward. Let me just use filter and say, okay, you know what, filter out these companies table where the year. So where, in fact, I don't need to type. I can just come in here and see where year is equal to 2019, and I close the bracket. And what do? I click on run, and I'll see the answer. So now that I've seen that this is what I need to extract out and save in Excel and send to the other party, what do? I just simply come to output, change to file, click on run again, and it's going to ask me to give the file a name. So I can just say, comma separated, and maybe companies 2019 data. So this is now what I'm going to forward, just send as an email to the, so let's go and open it, to the client or whoever it is that I want him to have that raw data. Okay. Okay, so I just want to open it. Sometimes I don't know why my documents used to take this long. I know Mr. Akule is in this meeting. He's an IT guru. Maybe if he can help me with what can I do, because now I'm having to wait for it to rearrange my file so that I can see the last one is done. But it takes time. That time is really annoying. So once I open this, and you will see that this is it. So now I have, so if you ever need to export data out of your Power BI, some people used to ask, oh, I downloaded the practice data that is Power BI, but I want to get the data out of the Power BI into Excel so that maybe I can rebuild things or I can use it for something else. Oh, meet Dax Studio. Dax Studio is that tool that makes that very easy for you. So now, what other things do I use Dax Studio for? Also, I use Dax Studio for performance analysis. But before I go to performance analysis, I want to talk about formatting my measures. Okay, so you will notice that the measures that I exported here, some of them are really long. Let's look for the really long ones. So if you look at this one, you see this is a really long measure, right? That some of these measures I like, you will probably want to format them in a easier to read way. Let me use that word, right? So what do? Most times I write those kind of measures. So let me just look for that measure right now. NSC. Okay. I think I have so many things open on my screen. Let me just see which ones I can close so that you can have a much more enjoyable experience. Let me just close everything. Thank God this is the last session for today, so I don't really need to come back here and just close that. Okay, great. So you see this, if I want to format it, all I just do is I come here, copy, go to Dax Studio, paste, then click on Dax Formatter. So have you seen I'm pasted? I'm going to click on this Dax Formatter right now. I click on Dax Formatter, and it's going to format the query for me. Looks like my internet is not connected or something. Remote server return error 404. What can be the cause for that? Let's say I do a new query. Don't worry. I'm going to just go back here. But I hope you see me, you all hear me. So I'm hoping it's not that my data is gone. But anyway, this helps me a lot. Unfortunately, I don't know why it is suddenly uh, giving this error. This is the first time I've ever seen it give this error. So I use this a lot. So it's just that I can't show you a client work. I use it to format my query, so that way I don't have to worry too much. I just type it the way I want, come here, paste, format, and then take back to here and replace. So I do that a lot so that at least the client is not going to think my work is shoddy. But it's one thing for your formulas to work fine. It's another thing, especially in the consulting world, if your formula looks really messy. Okay, so maybe what I will do, I'm going to just close this one. I'm going to close this too. I'm going to do new. I'm going to reconnect to this. I'm going to paste this there, and then I'm going to. So I think it's actually an error. Let me. The other alternative, which is why I prefer the Dax Studio, is you going to daxformatter.com. So let me just put this up here. After this, I will explain performance, how you can use Dax Studio to figure out, what is making your report large and slow. So I use it also for that, and it's really amazing, how with Dax Studio, instead of you poking in the dark, you're able to identify specifically what is causing your reports to be very, very slow. Now this one too is dragging. Huh? Maybe I should just close all my browsers, close everything. So let's try this one out. Dax formatter. I'm suspecting it's my internet that's causing that what I want to complain. But anyway, we can check it out. So at least you get to see what it's meant to do. It looks like there's an internet problem at my end. Okay, it's going. Huh? All right. So I have no idea why that one was complaining. But anyway, the result is similar to what you get here. If you paste your queries in here and you format, some kind of stuff and say, oh yeah, this is the formatted one. So I now come here, copy the formatted. So I copy and then I go back here. But like I mentioned, I rather use this one because instead of me going to a website, that Dax Studio is faster. I'm able to do that and many other things. So I now replace, in this place, I replace. So I replace what was there before with the one that I've done it. I've done this twice. Select, delete, paste once. And then I now say enter. And so that's how I try to improve the formatting of my Dax codes. Then let's go back to the performance side. So performance side, if I go to the Dax Studio, so if you go to, it's on the, let's see, some things have gone wrong. So, okay. So let's check out. But this is not what I want to do. I want to show metrics. So if you see show metrics on time, there's normally a second this thing here. For some weird reasons, I'm not seeing it. So there's a second menu. Okay, so maybe what I will just do is I'm going to exit this part. I'm going to just type something that will work with this. So let's run that. Let's see. Okay, I remember. I changed output to change this back to grid. Run this. Okay, good. So as for performance, I need to show metrics. Show metrics. Can I update this? I can't find the thing I'm looking for. Okay, I'll come back to that. Yeah. So let me, in the meantime, uh, show you the one around. If you want to see what is making, if you run a query if you like refreshing your data or running some stuffs, and you want to capture all that is happening. So if I say, all queries, so once I click on all queries, making it turn on, anything I do here, whatever query that it generates. So I'm opening my Power BI. I just hope it's not that is my computer's being slow that is affecting what I was expecting to see in that place anyway. So we will just make do with whatever pops up right now. So it's unfortunate. I use that part of it more than this other part. I use that performance side of it more than this one I want to show. So anything I do, so if I come in here and I pick that, I want to analyze, say for a company, I want to compare mobile with total. So mobile with total, let's scroll down and pick total. So you will notice that this is looking really slow, right? So if I want to be checking out what is causing my, though I think this is slower than normal, and I'm suspecting that it's because I'm doing a live streaming at the same time as using Power BI. So a lot of resources are being consumed at the same time. So all of whatever I'm doing here, right? If I go back to the Dax Studio, it is tracking for me the queries. So if I go to the query history, in fact, particularly these all queries, right? I'll be seeing all that is happening. I tried to pull out mobile and total, so I can pick this query. Once I pick, let me just see what you have here. So once I double click this query, it shows in here that at one portion of it, it was trying to summarize. So these are all the things that are happening, and it shows me by duration. So if I come here and I do the duration, I can see which one took the most time. So let's see, this one took a really long time. It took about 967 microseconds, or let's see, I think the duration is in milliseconds, sorry. So, and I'm able to see, so if I need to optimize, I can start looking at which ones are the things that whenever I change something, it's taking forever, and is there a way for me to reduce something about it or to do something about it so that it cuts down on the amount of time it takes, right? So that's another thing that you're able to do. You're able to identify what is taking time, when someone is interacting with your report, the bulk of the weight and the drag, where is it coming from? So I'm going to stop the tracing. Okay, so I've stopped the tracing. It's resource intensive. Okay. Again, let me just try the other very important one I do, which I told us. I think it has crashed again. Okay, that's not crashed. I thought that actually has crashed. Okay, so I I mentioned that I don't know why it's triggering. Trace is not currently on. So let me go back here. My outputs. Okay, knock off everything here. So I'm going to clear the cache. So everything is gone. Great. All right. So another thing that I do is if there's a calculation that I need to do that I'm just wanting to see the intermediate step. So imagine that you are supposed to get out past something like the distinct like values now. So I can say I need evaluate. I want to get like the distinct records in a particular table. So for instance, I want to create like a categorization by different things. So take for instance, I already have a table where I have stocks and bonds. So sometimes people give me, I need to work on reports where the customer will be like, I need us to categorize my customers, into different location. Unfortunately, in their own table that they have customers and location, it's not updated. When I say it's not updated, there are some customers that are on my own live report that is not on theirs. So sometimes I need to get it out and send to them and say, you know what, your own table is not updated. These are the list of customers. Can you go and update and then maybe update it on the system backend, or if you want, you send back to me the updated list and then I push in here. So what do? I want to grab out the company and the company names. In this case, in that example I gave, it will be me grabbing out the customer name. So I say values, and then I go and pick the table that I want to grab something out from. Company names. I think that is name. Name. And so you see, all the DAX that you do works here. The advantage is just that here you're able to get it out, and I can copy this if I want, and I can just select all of this, copy, go to Excel, and say, you know what, this is the list of all the companies that I have in my table. As of today, these are all the companies. Can you guys go and update your category list or your facts or your dimension table so that every company is now being the location or the category is already being updated, like it's now being updated. So that's one thing that I also try to do. Then so let's hope it's not that I am on the wrong version, because what I want to show us about, it was there last week and I'm struggling to find it. As I have this load performance table, right? There's something else that also generates the performance itself. So let me just do refresh and see if there's anything I need to do to bring it up. Fortunately, it's not showing anymore, which is sad because I use that a lot more than many of all these other tools that I'm showing you. I just hope it's not the whole reason why I have this DAX formatter not working that is also affecting it output. Yes, it could be this reason. So anyway, I can try to explain to you what it does. So there's a tool in here that allows you to see the cardinality of your table. Let me see if I go online, if I can show you an example of Dax Studio to examine report table cardinality and size. So that way you can see the screenshot. Let me just try and open an image version of it. So something like this. Let me see. Let's just see if this guy has put some screenshots. So I use that portion a lot more than the other ones, except the DAX formatter that I begin to use a lot more too. Let me see if I can pull out, if he has a screenshot here, so you'll be able to see what. I don't think he has it. It's a new tool. Before you had to write a query to get it out, but now they've added it as an inbuilt tool. I just hope it's not that my version is too. See, you see metrics here, right? So that's what I'm looking for, metrics. Unfortunately, mine is not showing that. Let me see. If you have any question, ask. Let me just see if I update. Maybe I'm using a old version. I have to. Most of the time, I work on the client. I work on my client's job using a remote desktop. So I'm guessing maybe on the remote desktop, I have downloaded the updated version. So I'm going to close this. Then I'm going to download Dax Studio, and maybe if I install the recent version, I can be able to quickly show you that. But any questions so far? I know what I'm saying might look a bit abstract, but it was also like that to me too in the beginning. Using Dax Studio didn't come easy because it was like you had to leave Power BI and go to Dax Studio. But I always try, just like what I'm doing towards now, I try to be aware of what it can do. So gradually I start facing problems that it now begins to make sense that, oh, now this is where I should have been using the Dax Studio. And so gradually I started using it even like 2 years after I've been aware of it. So let me run this installation of upgrade. Then I think that should have that tool I'm looking for, because that one has a lot more value than many of the features I've been showing you so far. And at least this is an opportunity for you to see the installation step. Anyway, it's a very small file. It's not up to 10 megabytes. So once it's done updating, we can again try and check out that feature, because that feature is really important that I will like you to see it, and then I can practically explain to you what I do. Sorry, let me turn on the light here. It's becoming dark. Yeah. So hopefully my face should be a bit brighter. Right. So automatically close the application. The installation doesn't take time anyway. Oh, I think it has closed. Okay. So it's I don't know what is the restarting anyway, but this looks like the end. Okay, right. So this is the end, and then it's launching. So we're launching it. Then we check out the. Hopefully that feature that I was trying to show you will be in this one. So I'm seeing it already. You can see advanced, right? Can you see advanced at this upper corner? So this is that stuff I was looking for. So good that it's happening in my own. So in case you already have Dax Studio and you can't see this thing I'm saying, you too will have to do this. You will have to update it to have this feature I want to demonstrate. So I'm going to, the thing is shaking, huh? Okay, great. It's loading and it's trying to detect the Power BI files I have open. Normally, it shouldn't be this slow, but let's just say maybe it's because it's launching for the first time since installation. Yeah. Okay, so no. The computer looks tired or is acting tired. It has done 2 sessions today. This is taking longer than normal. I think I will just have to close it, reopen it. Let's see. Close this program. So Dax Studio. So hopefully, so this is what I was expecting. So now, you see, I select, I say connect. I don't know why it's dancing now. The screen is dancing. So it looks like it's going to work now. All right. The metadata should be showing. Okay. So this is that place where what I'm looking for is under advanced. I don't know why the screen is dancing now. I just pray it still clicks. Okay. So you see view metrics. That's what I want. So once I click on view metrics, it's going to analyze. So it's called Vertipack Analyzer. So it's analyzing all of the tables in my report and telling me which one is contributing to the size. So I can see that the table that is the biggest for me is this NSC. And when I expand it, I can see like where the issues or which particular columns are the heavy columns, right? So this can be very useful. So when I do this is I try and check, am I using this? I use this to note the columns that are contributing to the size, and then I go and check, am I using these columns? If no, I delete them, right? So I can see that this is value is contributing volume, price. Cardinality means the uniqueness of the values. So the more unique values you have, the higher the cardinality, the amount of storage memory it uses. Then table size, at least you can see the table size, right? Then column size. So this now shows you how much, like this is taking like half of the size of the entire table. The table is 61 million, and this one is already like 26 million, and this is already like 23 million. So if I know that I'm not using the volume data, I can go and knock it off, and this will reduce in size. So I use this to figure out where the problems in my. So if I'm trying to optimize this table, I'm going to start from the bigger problem to the less big, right? So for instance, I'm no longer using stock. I could just go in and remove the stock because I know that I no longer use it. Uh, the data is accurate, so I stopped using it. So if I go, so let's try it together. If I go to my file size, my file storage, and I go to where I have that Power BI folder, that Power BI file, this is it. So if we look at the size, let's check out what the size really is. So the size is 24 megabytes. This is even manageable. I have some files that are 1 gig. That after I deleted like 4 columns, the thing reduced to like from 1 gig, it reduced to 500 meg. So that's how huge a significance you can get out of this. So if I go to my Power BI report and I say, okay, I've noticed that there's a table that is taking so much size and I'm not using it. I want to remove it. Once I remove it, instantly the file size will become smaller, the refresh time, time it takes for the report to refresh is also going to become smaller. Now my computer is freezing. Okay. And let's see. Okay. So the name of it's called stocks. Sometimes you want to wonder, you want to check which one are you using, which one are you not using. So another thing I do with this is I typically use to export it. So I can go in here and say export metrics. So if I click on export the metrics, I can choose. So what I normally do with that is I print it out usually, and then I start ticking which fields I use, which I did not use, and go to my original table and delete everything. I just remember that I do that too. I wanted to show you. But in this case, let me just continue with me coming here and deleting the stock. So I'm going to say, okay, the stock table is not in use, and I want to knock it out of my entire report. Unfortunately, my computer is now dragging. We're almost towards the end anyway. Any questions at this juncture? Do you have any questions that you want me to answer? But those are the ways I use this. Unfortunately, everything is now dragging. But I'm glad that I've been able to show you this part because this part is very important when you work with large data and you notice that your file just keeps ballooning in size. It's gone from 50 megabytes to 100 megabytes to 200 megabytes to, like in my own case, it even got to 1 gigabyte. And the customer was like, the refresh was failing. And, so we decided I had to go and do that for this analyzer, this metrics, and then figure out what to take out. So let me just take out stocks. So I can come in here and delete stock. It's gone off again. Okay. Everything is really now becoming a struggle. But that's it anyway. So I'll probably just like to round up around this section because I've shown us everything I want to show us and my computer is now freezing. Any questions? As usual, I'm going to have the recording. I think those who watch this recording might not really enjoy it as much because of the issues. But like I mentioned, the value is important. Even if you don't use it now, being exposed to these features are things that you'll be happy so that the day you have a problem, you remember that I said you should use a Dax Studio to analyze your report and see what you can knock off. And also you can use it to format your DAX so that the codes are nicer looking. You can use it to copy out whatever table into Excel easily without you struggling. So you can use it to export out your data out of Power BI into Excel or CSV file. So those are the things I've shown us. So any questions so that I can round up at this juncture? Okay, so if no questions, I think we can call it a close at this point. So thank you for joining. Sorry about the whole screen issue. And I hope you've learned one or two things. I know it might not be easy. Yeah, Mr. Kule, you want to say something?
Yeah, I just want to, yeah, so just want to thank you for this. And yes, despite the issues, I think it's a great exposure. I never knew that there is anything like this, and I think it's something I would love to explore. Yeah, as much as possible. I think it offers a lot of value, and yeah, that's something I think I would like to explore at a later time. Thank you so much. Really appreciate.
Yeah, for you because the company you work for, which is an FMCG too, and then the kind of work I did for the other FMCG company, I see a lot of parallel in terms of that. There was one time there was something you wanted to do, and I got to have an idea around the kind of huge data you have to pull out of system. This is something that I think you find value of from in three ways. One is if you suspect that there is something wrong with maybe the data itself, and you want to just export out the portion that you want to email to someone. You know, in Power BI, it's very difficult to just say I want to export out just a table into Excel. This one helps me to feel that kind of a need, which I think you will also have something similar. And then that format DAX too is something useful because these days, for you working in a multinational, sometimes you might have a consultant come and then the person might be looking at your work and like, oh, your formulas they are like, you know, they are not well formatted, and to be like, you should have formatted your formulas, they are not easy to read, and it can be embarrassing because it now make it look like as if one is not good at his work. Whereas formatting is something that nobody does manually. Everybody uses copy and paste to another tool that formats and bring back. And there's even a way of formatting everything at once. I'm trying to try it. It doesn't work yet. There's another tool. So that's one strategic use that I think you will also find for you. Maybe in a future session, I'm going to show you some other things that I have been using in my Power BI. If I just play this screen pops up, because right now it looks like everything is just something is happening that I don't understand on the screen.
Yeah, maybe you have a lot of things clogging your memory, and yes, so you have too many data in your memory. It needs to be cleared.
I've not even started in a long time. So if you look at my own screen, once this thing comes back on, it came up, then it went off again. Let me see if I can just do Control Delete to launch the task manager and delete the. Okay. See, if I go to my external tools, I have some things in my external tool that I think you will not today anyway. In future session, I will try and pick on one or two of them. Let me just close. Let me close this Dax Studio. See what else I can close. So I'm going to close. What I'm going to close in the Power BI because the thing I want to show is I need the Power BI for it. I don't need that particular file. I always use any Power BI file. I don't think should I. Okay. All right. I think some stuff are beginning to respond. So I've closed that one too. Okay. So I think now things are coming back to normal. Let me close this also. So with an empty Power BI, I can show you what tips that I need to show. Okay, to close this. And so if I go to external tools, can you see that I have a lot in my own external tools?
Yes.
So I even have that back format. I have a few. There is one that I'm trying to add, Tabular Editor. Tabular Editor is one other powerful tool, but I don't want to say anything yet about it because I want to use it myself. So it has some cool features that I've seen someone demo. This guy has been consulting. Let me just give you his blog because it's one of those people that I keep track of what they write because I don't know, it's like they have all the time in the world. They are able to dig into things that I'm like, how did they find it like this? So I'm going to just give you his give you his blog link. So he wrote some things about that tabular editor, and I found it really useful. Okay. So, but in my own case, these are some things that I have that I sometimes I'm able to use without those. So they are like external tools, they are add-ins. So one of these days, I'm going to put some of them that I found very good and demo to us. Maybe show you also how you can add them to your own. Thank you very much.